is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
We may have a record crowd at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater tonight for a rivalry game that's been played 105 times. Great players like Brian Bosworth, Barry Sanders, and Thurman Thomas have given the state of Oklahoma the thrills of a gridiron in-state war. Simply known as Bedlam. From Barry Switzer to Bob Stoops and Bud Wilkinson before them, OU has owned the series with only 5 losses since World War II. But under Mike Gundy, that gap has started to close. With a veteran quarterback in Brandon Weeden and a Biletnikoff winner in wide receiver Justin Blackmon on the end of his passes, the Cowboys find themselves as the favorites for the 3rd year in a row. No longer the Little Brothers, the Sooners, the Cowboys. Bedlam next. Welcome to ESPN on ABC Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week. And while this is not an official Big 12 championship like we've had in past years, it is a de facto championship because the winner is the Big 12 Conference champion and will go to a BCS Bowl. That's what it's all about as these two teams get together. And you take a look at the top 5 teams in the BCS standings. LSU is taking care of their business in Atlanta with a victory soon to be over Georgia. Alabama idle, just waiting to play LSU. Oklahoma State, you can see the computers, like the Cowboys, a lot better than the human factor. And it would take an unbelievable performance probably to change all those voters' minds. Welcome, everybody. Brad Nessler along with Todd Blackledge. Partner, they've been doing this thing since 1904. 8 straight losses the Cowboys have suffered at the hands of the Sooners. And even though we talked about stats all week and before the game leading up to it, I think it's all up here. Do they have it in their mind that they can beat these guys?
That's the question that has to be answered. And, you know, the way that Oklahoma State can throw the football and the problems that Oklahoma has had stopping the pass, they may never have a better chance to beat Oklahoma than this year. That's the thing that they've got to do. But, you know, the problem is the guys wearing crimson and cream, they're used to playing for championships. Right. And they're used to playing on a big stage. So even though the game is here in Stillwater for the 2nd year in a row, make no mistake, to get where Oklahoma State wants to go, that road goes through Norman.
Well, how do they do it, the Cowboys, on their home field? Some keys to the game.
Well, the keys to the game, when you take a look at both teams, first of all, for Oklahoma, they've got to win the running game. 2 weeks ago, Iowa State was able to hold Oklahoma State to 60 yards and one-dimensionalize that offense. If Oklahoma does that, that'll help them get their second key. Affect Brandon Weeden. That can come in pressures and hits or sacks, but it also can be in disguising coverages and creating confusion. Last year, they didn't sack him, but they did force 3 interceptions. For Oklahoma State, on the other hand, they have to protect their quarterback. Because Weeden is not a running threat, Oklahoma's going to throw all kinds of different pressures at him. They must communicate and protect. And then finally, they've got to win the turnover battle. They force more turnovers than anybody in college football.
Brandon Weeden, at age 28, coming out obviously with the seniors, one of 16 seniors, as Mike Gundy gives him a set-off. And he'll get a huge ovation for what he's done and what he's continued to do this year for this team. One of the guys that will be introduced that is not a senior. He'll get the same kind of ovation, expected to go to the National Football League. One of the great receivers in college football, the Biletnikoff winner from last year, playing his final game at home, Justin Blackmon. It's been a high-scoring affair over the years. And tonight, as we take you to break with Switchfoot, the Cowboys of Oklahoma State no longer a dark horse in this series.
This is Dr. Pepper Championship Week.
Cowboys Seminoles of Oklahoma State on their home field, trying this year again to win 11 games, as they did a year ago. More importantly, trying to win a conference crown, something in the Big 12 they've never done. And here in Stillwater, as you take a look at the Bedlam history, dates back to 1904. We talked about Oklahoma having won 8 straight. What's at stake tonight? BCS game. And it's been a very, very tough couple of weeks around this campus, Holly.
Well, that's right. The morning of their game at Iowa State, Oklahoma State heard of the tragedy. They'd lost some members of their athletic family. Women's basketball coach Kurt Budke and his assistant Miranda Cerna and the pilot and his wife were killed in a small plane crash. It really shook the team. We talked to Brandon Weed, and he said the whole day was just a roller coaster of emotions. It was somber. Mike Gundy said we'll never know for sure how that loss affected the way they played in their only loss of the season, but that's not what's important. He said the next morning he went to the widow's home. Shelly Budke opened the door, and the first thing she said to Mike Gundy, "Coach, I'm so sorry about the game, but this community and team has had a chance to move on and heal." They had a lovely memorial, and Justin Blackman showed us in the pregame they're wearing wristbands to honor Kurt tonight, guys.
Not only are they wearing the wristbands, but the Oklahoma coaches are wearing an orange ribbon on their coaching jackets. Oklahoma's going to get the football first. Trey Franks will have to take a knee in the end zone, and that'll bring out the Sooner offense, led by this guy, Landry Jones.
Last year in this ballgame, Landry Jones set a school record with 468 yards passing.
Problem was 3 interceptions.
Yeah, he threw 3 interceptions, but he threw 4 touchdowns, and his team won. So
interceptions don't hurt as much when you win.
Yep.
So first down for Oklahoma. Sooners at their own 20. Roy Finch in the pistol set behind Landry Jones. The quick throw out complete to Kenny Stills, and Stills goes for about 5. Justin Gilbert made the stop as we take a look at our Oklahoma impact players. Landry Jones, Blake Bell, you'll see both quarterbacks, especially Bell in short yardage and goal line. Kenny Stills with that catch. He's the #1 receiver, of course. Travis Lewis defensively leads them, as he always seems to, in tackles. Here's another throw out and complete, and a first down throw to DeJuan Miller. So 2 quick passes, first down Oklahoma.
And you have 2 teams that like to play quick. Both of them are tempo teams. They like to get to the line of scrimmage. You'll see neither team huddle. That doesn't mean they're always going to snap it fast, but they always have the threat of snapping it fast.
From the 31-yard line. Comes a blitz. Jones got rid of it, but it's incomplete. James Hanna, the tight end, had his hands on it, couldn't hold it.
This pass offense for Oklahoma is different without Ryan Broyles, who was the all-time leading receiver in college football, got injured in the Texas A&M game. They still have decent numbers, but it's a different pass offense. Ryan on the sidelines right now.
Ryan had his knee surgery about a week and a half ago. 2nd and 10. Pump fake, and now the throw is too high. Intended for Hanna, the tight end again. A couple of errant throws by Landry Jones.
A little confusion created by the defense, Bill Young's defense. You don't have to see Landry Jones have to double clutch too often and move his feet when there's no pressure, and he got confused on the last 2 plays.
Brings up 3rd and 10. Sooners 43% on their 3rd down conversions on the year. They'll have to earn all of this one. Deep middle, into traffic, broken up, tipped, incomplete. And it was James Thomas back there that got a hand on it.
Well, again, coming into the game, nobody has forced more turnovers than Oklahoma State, 37, and they almost got one there. They got the tip, the ball was up in the air, and a very interceptable pass. A lot of coverage there around Hanna.
3 passes aimed at Hanna, and the last one he paid the price after it was tipped and incomplete. He took one right under the chin. Tress Way to punt. Ooh, they got close, but they might have gotten too close.
Nope, no flag.
No flag, and backpedaling is Josh Cooper to take the fair catch. 50-yard punt, no return. Wade just got this away.
Well, they came from outside. They came from inside. Zach Craig was the first guy in, coming on the inside. Very close to getting that punt.
Good call, though. They never touched him, I don't think, at all. He hit the turf on his own, just trying to get out of the way. So now Brandon Weeden and the Cowboys work from their 20-yard line. "34 touchdown passes for Brandon Weeden, and he comes up throwing on a slip screen. Justin Blackman broke one tackle and picked up about 6. Let's take a look at the Cowboys' impact players. Obviously, Brandon Weeden, the quarterback I just mentioned. Joe Randall, over 1,000 yards on the ground. Blackman, the defending Biletnikoff award winner, and Jamie Blatnick leads the team in tackles for loss and sacks on the defensive side of things. 2nd and 4. Draw play. Randall puts his head down, but he's going to be brought down by Lewis and Elson before he can get the first down.
And right away we see the first situation for Oklahoma State where they really need to be better in this game than they've been for a good part of the year. 3rd down, short yardage, goal line running. They're such a pass-heavy team that they've not been a great run team in these kind of situations.
Got 2 tight ends in there on 3rd down and 1. One of them on the move, Justin Horton. Will they get the first down? Yes, they will. And breaking out the backside is Randall. And Oklahoma can't bring him down until he picks up 11 yards.
I'm not so sure Oklahoma wasn't trying to tackle the football there, because Randall's had some troubles securing the football, and he did a great job of covering it up. And when they didn't take him to the ground, he kept moving forward for more yardage.
And you can see Jamel Fleming, who's wearing number 12 tonight in honor of Austin Box, their teammate who passed away before the season. Somebody on defense always wears number 12. Jeremy Smith got the corner, knocked out of bounds. Aaron Colvin, the safety, got over there to put a hit on him, but not before he got 6 yards. There's Jamel Fleming, the senior out of Arlington, Texas. A different defender has worn that number 12 in honor of their teammate all season long.
And one thing that Oklahoma's doing different tonight, they're going to keep him on the left side as the left cornerback, thinking that Blackman would be lined up, but he's been on the left so far. Now here he comes in motion to the right.
And they'll hand it off to Randall straight up the middle. And maybe a yard. That's about it. Tom Ort, the middle linebacker, made the hit.
Fleming is their best cover corner. And so they wanted to try to match him up with Blackman as much as possible. And for the most part this season, Blackman has lined up on the right side of the offensive formation. But so far in the first possession tonight, Blackman has been on the left every play.
Fleming, not only all Big 12 last year, the MVP of the Fiesta Bowl. There's Blackman to the bottom of your screen, but again, they'll keep it on the ground, and they're going to be knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Jeremy Smith, David King's got him all wrapped up.
Yeah, again, that is the weakness of this offense right now. Their offensive line is excellent at pass protecting, and they've really done a great job of keeping their quarterback clean, but they've not done a great job of driving people out in short yardage situations when they need to run the football. Short yardage and goal line, coming out from your own area, and late in the game when you want to eat clock.
Quinn Sharp would lead the country in punting if he had enough attempts, averaging over 47.5 a kick. Kicks this one away. And it goes out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. 10:46 remaining first quarter. That's where the Sooners and Landry Jones will have it when we come back. Well, about 10.5 hours ahead of us at Camp Gambari, the brigade's headquarters over there, so I guess you guys had to be up anyway. Closing in on 6 o'clock in the morning. Overall, the loyalties seem pretty split. Both Stillwater and Norman have major National Guard armories. We welcome all of you. Nice to have you with us tonight. No score early. We got a long ways to go. Hand off. Trey Franks trying to get to the corner, and Cowboys won't let him.
Trey Franks was the leading rusher last week, had 2 carries for 88 yards on those kind of sweet plays from his wide receiver position. Very fast, pretty well defended that time by the Cowboys.
Yep. Only got about 4 before Daquan Lowe made the hits at the 31, 2nd down and 6. Roy Finch, the tailback, hasn't handled it yet. They fake it to him. Jones has got to get rid of it in a hurry because Ricchetti Jones was coming like he was a horse unbridled.
Well, you hope with that play-action fake that end will bite a little bit. But Ricchetti Jones did not pay attention to the fake. He was assigned to the quarterback and made a straight line to Landry Jones, and there was no way that Jones could get rid of the ball any quicker than that.
And it brings up 3rd and 6.
This is where Landry Jones misses Ryan Broyles the most. 3rd down and in the red zone.
He's missed his last 4 passes. Pressure again, hit as he throws. He's missed his last 5 passes. Sean Lewis put the hit on him, and he's slow to get up.
Well, they brought 5. It wasn't an overload blitz, but Sean Lewis was able to come free and right into the chest of Landry Jones as he was throwing the football.
His guy was open, but he couldn't get enough on the ball because number 11 was right in his rib cage, and it'll force another Tressway punt. Last time they almost roughed him. This time they at least ran into it. Flag down. Very similar to the last play.
Well, and they are there. I mean, they're in position to go for a block, but you have to go with the right angle to where the ball's coming off the foot, not into the body of the kicker.
Running into the kicker on the defense, number 22. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
It's 4th down and about a yard. It was not enough to pick up the automatic 1st down.
I mean, regardless, for Oklahoma, they better shore up their punt protection because Oklahoma State has been very close on 2 punt attempts.
James Thomas that time. You get another look from another angle. You see number 22 flying in there and getting a piece of Tressway.
See, that angle has to go to in front of the punter where the ball would be coming off the foot, not to the side where you run the risk of hitting the kicker.
Josh Cooper's back deep again. Let's see if they bring the heat 3 times in a row. This time, they don't get near him. And Cooper's going to have to let it bounce near the 30-yard line. It takes a right-hand turn and will be downed at the 31. Landry Jones has been flustered a little bit in the early going. Cowboys not making it easy on him in the first quarter.
Dear NFL football, you inspire us to do some crazy things to both ourselves and our loved ones. But if a fan loving his team is crazy, then pass the Bud Light and call us crazy.
Bud Light, proud to be the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Looking good, dog.
Hey, he went to Jared.
He definitely went to Jared. That's a peerless diamond. That's the ideal cut diamond. What?
Jared has 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores with thousands of loose diamonds and hundreds of settings to create your own one-of-a-kind ring.
That's an extraordinarily beautiful moment. Yo, man, you crying? No.
That's the power of selection. That's Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
America's been getting under-cheesed big time, the so-called cheesy bread. And we were one of the worst offenders. So we've created our new stuffed cheesy bread. It's got as much cheese as our medium pizza.
Let's see how far we can make this go.
Order any of our new stuffed cheesy breads or medium 2-topping pizzas. Choose any 2 for just $5.99 each.
And that's how you use FaceTime.
That is so cool. I didn't know you guys had all the Apple products. My family's gonna flip out.
I guess Santa better watch his back, huh?
Yep.
All the hottest Apple gifts and the professionals to help at Best Buy.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. John Hancock, the future is yours. And Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Great wrestling history here at Oklahoma State. And their Hall of Fame.
I think I read where they won 34 national championships.
Something like that.
Oklahoma State.
Yep. Always seemed like it was Oklahoma State, Iowa, or Iowa State that was always right there. Brandon Weeden comes out, 28-year-old quarterback. These are just some of the quarterbacks. There are 15 starters in the NFL that are older than Brandon Weeden. Of course, he spent years in the Yankees organization as a pitcher before coming here as a quarterback. And he loads and fires. Deep sideline. Out of bounds, but what a catch by Justin Blackmon. And you know that being a second-round pick of the Yankees, it shows up how quick he gets rid of the ball, Todd, as a quarterback.
Well, this is an offense that requires you to be a quick-release guy. You can't have a slow delivery. A lot of this is just catch, grab the ball, and throw it. And a lot of times on the quick screens and the real quick throws outside, he doesn't even flip the ball to get the laces. He just throws it however he gets it in his hand.
He told us that he might wear a glove tonight if it was cold, but it's actually better weather than we expected. Weeden down the middle, this one he's got on the run. Tracy Moore inside the 20 to the 15. 53 yards, Weeden to Moore.
Tracy Moore did a great job of creating separation after he pushed upfield on this route. You're going to see him come from the left of the screen. Watch him separate from the defender. That's Ebolia that he separated from. A pretty good coverage guy. Excellent job creating separation before the catch.
First down in the red zone for the Cowboys. Randall, right side, diving his way inside the 10. Tony Jefferson knocked him off his pins, but the first true threat of the night's coming from Oklahoma State.
And this is where you've got to be careful for Justin Blackmon. Because of his ability to go up and catch the football in traffic and use that strong body, you almost have to throw double coverage at him around the end zone.
It's not that he's that tall. He's only 6'1", but as Todd said, he knows how to time his leaps, and he's got extremely strong hands, great hands. Second down and 4. Weeden kind of looks out there at him as Cooper comes in motion. They keep it on the ground, and this is going to be a touchdown. Jeremy Smith. The 8th rushing touchdown of the year for Jeremy Smith. And Oklahoma State on the board first. Extra point by Sharp is good. Midway through the first quarter, Cowboys on the board first. Smith scores from 9 yards out, and at home, Oklahoma State 7, Sooners nothing. Jeremy Smith, the sophomore out of Tulsa Union High, scores to end a 68-yard drive.
Well, a couple things to watch. Parker Graham's going to get a great block right here on Nelson, and then watch Tony Jefferson, because he is going to have his eyes on Justin Blackmon, who's out here looking to double cover, and he's not going to see the back get the football until it's too late. Jefferson sees it when it's time to go in the end zone for Jeremy Smith.
Sharp's kick bounces at the 5, taken in the end zone, down by Trey Franks, and Oklahoma trailing by a touchdown. Sooners are worked from the 20 after we check in with Robert Flores. Robert.
Hey, Brad, Taco Bell studio update. In their first meeting, Wisconsin led Michigan State 14-0 before the Spartans won at the gun on a Hail Mary. Tonight in the Big Ten championship game, they're up 7-0. Jeff Duckworth from Russell Wilson, and the Badgers are leading in the first quarter, but the Spartans are driving. ACC championship game on ESPN, Clemson leading Virginia Tech 7-0.
Clemson Tigers trying to come out of their funk. Let's see if the Sooners can come out of theirs. They haven't mustered much on offense tonight so far.
Only 15 yards of offense.
Jones completes it. First down to Kenny Stills. And Stills is out to the 35.
This is an offense coming into the game, 4th in the country. 548 yards a game that they're averaging. Landry Jones still having a tremendous season. Again, the absence of Ryan Broyles and the absence of tailback Dominique Whaley, who broke his ankle, has affected this offense. to a very large degree.
Royals hurt against Texas A&M. Whaley went down on the first snap against Kansas State. That took a big chunk out of their offense, as Todd said. First down at the 34. They fake it to Finch. Jones loads, double clutches, and airs it deep. Man out there, just overshot Kenny Stills, who had a half step on Broderick Brown.
Well, he had to double clutch because his receiver, Kenny Stills, kind of did a different move. He was running a post pattern, and normally the post goes in front of the cornerback, but watch, at the end of the play, he decided to go behind him, and that forced the quarterback to double clutch, and they still almost got to completion.
Blitz coming off the corner. Jones is going to flip it out to Finch, and he's hit immediately. Kept on his feet somehow after the hit from Jamie Blatnick. Did a half a cartwheel, landed on his hand, and got a couple extra yards out of it.
Jamie Blatnick, a high-energy effort guy, is dropping into coverage, kind of a zone blitz, and he does a nice job for a defensive end getting out there and making a play.
3rd and 7. Jones fires near side, complete, first down at midfield. Jazz Reynolds knocked out of bounds, 116, hits the other. Andre May was the guy that was covering, but a pickup of 12, and they'll move the sticks.
Jazz Reynolds did not play in the last game against Iowa State. He was suspended for that game. Also had a shoulder injury before that, but he's healthy and back in good graces.
Jones without a huddle, throwing far side this time, and DeJuan Miller was thinking about how much he was going to get out of that game, but he forgot to take the football along.
First things first.
Royals, and they definitely missed the all-time leading receiver in college football history.
He was averaging 128 yards per game in receiving yards, so I mean, that's a big chunk of your offense gone.
2nd and 10, just shaded on the Sooner side of midfield. Jones, pressure coming, got rid of it to the far side, and this time it is caught by Miller. And forward progress is going to give him the first down.
Yeah, Miller kept his eye on it that time. I mean, he went up, secured that ball into his body, and kept his eyes right on that football the entire way.
Quickly, Sooners snap it and going deep again to the corner, and it is jump ball between Reynolds and whoever's under him, and I don't know who's got it. The Cowboys do. Broderick Brown outfought Reynolds for the football.
Well, Bob Stoops clapping because it's almost like a punt, but for Broderick Brown, the 22nd interception of the season for Oklahoma State, a beautiful play. Broderick Brown was the guy who was involved in one of the best plays in all of college football last season. Goes up and makes a huge pick in the end zone and fights Reynolds for the football.
His 5th interception of the season. A great individual effort by Broderick Brown. And the Cowboys have got it back at their 20. So Landry Jones, his 13th interception of the season. That's what Todd was talking about. Coming in, they know how to swipe the ball. Yeah. They might give up a lot of yards, but they know how to take it away.
Well, they are playing more physical at the point of attack tonight than they've played for the last several weeks. So their defense is on a mission tonight.
They're going to move it to the other hash mark before the snap. And that looks more comfortable for Brandon Whedon with 3 wide receivers to the field. He's looking that way. And now goes down the middle and completes it. Isaiah Anderson's got a first down.
That ball looked like it bounced. I mean, and some of the Oklahoma defenders were calling for that as well. It was a little bit underthrown. Oh, I think he got it.
Yep, 19-yard pickup.
Excellent concentration by Anderson.
Anderson has never caught a pass against Oklahoma. That's his first one. Now Whedon comes up firing again. Crossing pattern to Blackman. He's got another first down. trying to fight him for the football, but he holds on to that one.
There are certain routes, if you anticipate double coverage, that you can still try to work to your top guy. That's one of them, an in route. A corner route is another route. It's a deep in, so even if there's underneath and over the top coverage, you still run away from one guy and get into an open space for the football.
Blackman took a pretty good double team hit down there, but held onto the ball. Now they go back to the ground to Randall, and flags fly in as Randall got a couple. Scott Novak is our referee.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the offense, number 74, leg whip, 15-yard penalty.
Grant Garner, the senior center out of Mesquite, Texas, with the leg whip.
You know, Broderick Brown made that interception in the end zone last year in the Bedlam game, maybe the play of the year. What's going out of bounds is going to save the football back in bounds to his teammate Sean Lewis for an interception. Sean Lewis had 2 interceptions in the game. This one he had to share the credit with Broderick Brown for sure.
1st and 25. They're trying to throw a screen. They got it out to Randall. He's got one blocker in front. Made one man miss. Cuts back. Flags down again as he goes to midfield.
Well, this flag, I think, is going to be roughing the quarterback. After the screen, that was Tom Wart, the middle linebacker, on a blitz that hit Brandon Whedon after the ball was released.
That best spot, first down.
And Whedon feeling the effects, but he'll take the yardage.
I think the fact that he drove him to the ground at the end of the play is what the referee cited on that.
Timing-wise, he pretty much arrived at the departure of the football, but I think, as you said, get the hit, don't try to take him into the turf. And they get the first down by penalty. Whedon going to throw to Randall on the other side. And Oklahoma there to meet him. Ebola with the stop.
Back-to-back screen plays for Oklahoma State. Todd Monken expecting pressure from this Oklahoma defense. It was interesting when he talked about Oklahoma's defense. They're a very aggressive, competitive coaching staff defensively. They don't like to give you anything. So they're really going to try to come at you and affect your quarterback and take things away.
Brandon Whedon hands it off this time to Smith, who's already scored a touchdown, and now he spins his way for a first down at the 22-yard line. Reminder, Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Craig James will all be along for the All-State BCS selection show tomorrow night. They'll unveil final polls, let you know who's playing in the championship, and then all the bowl games will be unveiled at 9 o'clock. 8:15 and 9 tomorrow night on ESPN. We know these teams are going to bowls. We just don't know where yet. First down, Cowboys. Crossing pattern, Blackman on the run. Heads to the sideline. Picked up 7 or 8 before he's run out of bounds.
I'm not so sure that that's a good defensive philosophy right there, allowing Blackman to run across the middle of your defense with nobody around him. There were no white shirts around Justin Blackman as he caught that crossing route.
Well, here they are at the 16-yard line. Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator, trying to slow down the Cowboy offense that has already scored once on the ground. And now they've moved it down to a 2nd down and 3 at the 16. They stay with the ground game. Randall's got a first down. He's at the 11.
See, I think that's the key right now for Oklahoma State. They're winning the battle running the football. That's over 50 yards now in the first half, rushing the football to go along with the passing game that coming into the game, best in the league, over 400 yards a game. So it's their ability to have balance on offense right now that has this Oklahoma defense on their heels.
In their only loss 2 weeks ago to Iowa State, they only had 60 yards on the ground. And now Whedon off play action, scans the field, goes to the corner, throws this one away. Josh Cooper was the closest man, but there was good coverage by the Sooners.
Yeah, good decision that time by Whedon. You know you've got a certain amount of time, and that's it. And you don't want to take a sack because you've got offensive momentum. Throw that thing away.
Well, this is the 9th play of the drive. They started this way back at their own 20-yard line. Blackman won't be in on this snap. On a 2nd down and 10. They can get a first down at the 1.
Blackman out. Cooper becomes the main guy.
Hand off. Smith And they're holding on for dear life as he crossed the 10-yard line. Corey Nelson will bring him down.
Travis Lewis was the first guy to get into the backfield and slow down Jeremy Smith. He didn't get the tackle. Nelson got the tackle, but Lewis created the problem.
And now on 3rd and 8, Blackman is back in there, and it would be almost impossible to get a first down without getting a touchdown, because the first down marker is just inside the 1. Trying to go up by 2 scores here. The Cowboys 3rd down and 8. Whedon throws complete to Blackman, but he's run out of bounds after a pickup of only about a yard.
It's a big difference that time on the crossing route. There was somebody right with him. Travis Lewis picked him up right away. Even though it was a completion, it wasn't anywhere near the first down.
Quinn Sharp is not only the punter, but the place kicker as well. And he is 17 out of 20 on the year on his field goals. This should be a chip shot, 25 yards. Sharp, the kick is up and good. And the Cowboys have added to their lead on their home field. Sooners have spotted them 10 with 2:51 remaining first quarter. Now for today's big picture, brought to you by Sony. The big picture from the day, Conference USA, an upset. Maybe not if you're a Southern Miss fan. Beating Houston handily, 49-28. Robert Griffin III too much for the Longhorns of Texas as they double up. The Longhorns and LSU undefeated as they'll head to the national championship game. Georgia had the first 10. LSU had the last 42 at the Georgia Dome in the SEC title game. Here, Big 12 conference title on the line, and right now it's Oklahoma State leading 10-0.
You know, that's a weapon. When your kicker kicks it out of the end zone for touchbacks as much as Oklahoma State's kicker does, Quinn Sharp, I mean, that's a weapon. Make that offense go the long field consistently, especially if you're a defense that struggles a little bit. Really helps. I think Oklahoma right now, Brad, needs to just calm down. You know, they're still a very explosive offense. Landry Jones, a very experienced guy. They just got to get into a rhythm, make a few first downs, take care of the football.
Like you said earlier, they've been in so many big games. It's not panic mode here in the first quarter. Brandon Williams is the tailback, and he'll get the carry. And Williams with a stiff arm got about 5 as we check in with Robert Flores. Robert?
Hey, Brad, update on the ACC Championship game being played right now on ESPN. Virginia Tech's Logan Thomas from D to DJ Coles ties the game at 7. Clemson won the first meeting against Virginia Tech in October, but a much different Hokie team. Right now in the Big Ten, Wisconsin has just gone ahead of Michigan State. Point after pending, they lead 13-7 in Indianapolis.
This for the Big 12 conference title, even though it's not the championship game that's been played over the course of several years at a neutral site. The winner of this one does win the conference at a BCS berth. Here's a pass out to Kenny Stills. First down, stiff arms his way out to the 32-yard line. As we look at our conference update brought to you by Dr. Pepper 10. And here's how it looks. Oklahoma State, number 3 in the BCS. Oklahoma, number 10. But by virtue of head-to-head competition, whoever wins this one has a BCS berth.
How about Bill Snyder's Kansas State Wildcats?
Not bad, huh?
10-2.
Millard, the fullback, in motion. The handoff, and stood up and dropped for a loss is Williams. And it was Christian Littlehead who met him head-to-head in the hole.
On the inside, Littlehead beats the center, Ben Hayburn. Hayburn is back at a broken forearm, missed 5 games, was back last week at center against Iowa State for the first time.
2nd and 10. Here comes a blitz. Jones steps in, fires a strike, complete. Got it to Millard, the fullback. Big gain and a first down. Pickup of 23.
A lot of times the reason young freshman running backs don't play all the time is because they don't pick up pass protection as quick as running the football. But this time, watch Brandon Williams stick his nose right in there and buy enough time for his quarterback to make the throw.
It's probably the best throw by Jones tonight. Back to the ground to Williams. Again, Brandon Williams getting more and more time. True freshman out out of Brookshire, Texas. He's the bigger back because Finch is a little guy, about 165 pounds. Finch does come back in on this play. Trio of receivers to the top of your screen for Landry Jones. 2nd down and 7 in the final 45 seconds of the first quarter. Fakes it to Finch. Going to go right back over to him. Tough catch though, and the little guy with a flag down lost his balance trying to make the catch to get to the 1st down marker, and we'll check on the flag. It's holding
on the offense, number 59. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Donald Stevenson, the left tackle. Got to see if they're going to take the penalty or not.
It was just bad footwork that time by Donald Stevenson. He kind of jumped outside, and his man took an inside course on the pass rush, and instinctively he just reached out with his right arm and grabbed him.
So back at 48-yard line now.
You're just thinking about getting half this yardage back on this 2nd down play. You don't have to go for all of it, unless they give it to him.
Hannah, the tight end, in motion. Jones pressured. It's a screen in the middle of Finch, and he goes down. A little bit of contact by Alex Elkins, but basically Finch putting the brakes on, took himself to the turf to end the first quarter. A quarter belonging to the Cowboys of Oklahoma State on their home field. They lead 10-0. This presentation of ESPN on ABC College Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Crowning what's been a strange year in the Big 12. Texas A&M and Missouri going to the SEC. West Virginia and TCU coming in. Talked to Chuck Ninus, the interim commissioner, before the game down on the field. And of course, a lot of it was caused by the Longhorn Network, which almost disbanded this whole conference. Luckily, we got the two teams that everybody wanted to see play each other playing here tonight in Stillwater. Jones to throw on flags down on 3rd and long. Completes it to Finch, but again, penalty markers on the play.
I think Oklahoma State was offsides, which gave them a free play. Jamie Blatnick was the guy who jumped, and so they'll get a retry on 3rd down for shorter yardage needed.
Offside on the defense, number 50. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Blatnick, one of the captains, and he is the guy that causes a lot of havoc, but he got a head start on this one.
So the question now for Oklahoma, do you go take the penalty and go 3rd and 8, or do you go 4th and 2 or 3? Obviously they're going to go 3rd and 8. Actually, it's closer to 3rd and 9.
Yep.
And this is where Ryan Broyles was the security blanket for Landry Jones. Who can step up and be that guy on this play?
Cowboys are showing that they might bring more than a 3-man rush. Jones gets his tailback in the right spot. They will bring an extra man. Jones steps up, fires at the last moment into traffic. It's incomplete. It's broken up by Broderick Brown, intended for DeJuan Miller. So Broderick Brown, who had a big play earlier, comes up with another one.
Well, they anticipated pressure. They picked up pressure. And it was a good job by Landry Jones moving in the pocket enough to create a throwing lane, and he makes a good throw. I mean, that's a catchable ball. And DeJuan Miller now has missed 2 big-time passes in the first half. Again, 3rd down, middle of the field. Ryan Broyles not there. Somebody else has to step up and make a play for the Sooners.
Tress Way again set to punt. They've been putting pressure on him all night long. I actually ran into him on one of his punts tonight. This one trying to get it inside the 20. Flags are down.
Well, this will be an interesting call here, because if it's defensive holding, it could be an automatic 1st down for Oklahoma.
If it's a holding on one of the gunners, it would be a huge penalty. Basically a change of possession penalty.
During the kick, holding, number 19 of the receiving team. Penalized from the 20-yard line, 10 yards, 1st down. Timeout on the field.
14-18. Remaining in the half. Oklahoma State shutting out the Sooners right now. Cowboys pitching a shutout so far here early in the second quarter. as we take a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines playbook. Mr. Blackledge, it's all yours.
Well, one of the routes that Justin Blackman runs exceptionally well is the deep in route, and it's also one of the routes that Brandon Whedon throws exceptionally well. He's got great touch on this, in between linebackers, over short linebackers, and it's also a great route to throw if you anticipate double coverage. That's a deadly combination right there, Whedon to Blackman on the deep end.
That post-punt holding penalty has put him at the 10-yard line as Randall gets a couple. Corey Nelson on the tackle. We check in with Holly.
Well, Justin Blackman grew up in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and the coaching staff here at Oklahoma State said we literally had to drive through Norman to recruit him. But he wasn't a great player in football in high school. He was considered a 3-star recruit. The coaches say, you know, he was a little 160 pounds, maybe a little overweight, but he was a terrific basketball player, and that's what Mike Gundy saw. His hand-eye coordination in hoops. They took a chance on him, and guys, he'll go down as one of the greats for the Cowboys.
And they have had some greats, that's for sure here in the last.
I thought it was hilarious. Justin said, I wasn't overweight. I was slow, but I wasn't overweight. 160 pounds, it's hard to be overweight.
Whedon, and is that caught? No, out of bounds. That was Tracy Moore, who had a big 55-yarder, 53-yarder earlier in the ball game. So third down, this is a big play for the Oklahoma defense.
I think they said he was bobbling this. He did a good job trying to drag that foot, but he wasn't able to secure the catch on the sideline.
Great effort, though.
Oklahoma has not been able to affect Brandon Whedon so far in the football game. A good opportunity here, 3rd and long, deep in his own territory.
And they're going to run draw play to Randall. And Lewis has got them all wrapped up, drops him at the line of scrimmage. So the Cowboys are going to have to punt from their own end zone.
Well, the leader of that defense, Travis Lewis, he injured his toe in preseason drills. He sat out one game. They thought he might be out 3 or 4. He's played hurt pretty much the whole year. He's never been 100%, but he still has had a very outstanding season for the Oklahoma defense.
Sharp didn't have a good first punt. This one's a little bit better. Fair catch taken by Stills at the 45-yard line. 48-yard kick. 12:52 remaining till halftime. See if the Sooners can get it in gear on offense when we come back.
Saturday Night Football on ABC. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And IBM. Let's build a smarter planet. Visit IBM.com/smarterplanet.
Barry Sanders Heisman Trophy here in the facility that is Boone Pickens Stadium. Mr. Pickens put a lot of money into this program, and to say it showed would be an understatement. We've been in a lot of places, Ledge. You and I, Holly, walking around here yesterday. Yeah. It's spectacular.
It is. I mean, fine details, you know, and the lighting and the thought and the care that went into the different forms of lighting in this building is spectacular.
Well, on the upper level, it's very classy. As you go downstairs, it's a little more for the younger crowd because that's where the players hang out. And there's a lot of neon down there, but they didn't miss much putting this place together, that's for sure. Landry Jones, play action throw is complete. It's going to be a first down to Kenny Still, stretching out as he crossed midfield to the 49-yard line.
And that's the guy I think that has to step up and make some big plays for the Sooners. Kenny Still, he's capable. 52 catches coming into tonight, 8 touchdowns. He was the good complement to Ryan Broyles, and Stills is going to have to step up and make some big chunk yardage plays for Landry Jones.
He's got 4 catches, but not any big chunks so far. 38 yards receiving. First down, though. And here's Finch. And the little guy trying to hide behind his lineman does a nice job of it to get to the 44-yard line.
Now, coming into this ball game, let's not forget Oklahoma State defensively was ranked 107th in the country, giving up almost 454 yards per game. And they have done a great job so far in the first half of slowing down this Sooner offense, not just keeping them scoreless, but not giving up many yards as well.
Again, the pistol set's got Finch behind Jones on 2nd and 5. Blitz coming, the throw's out in the flat. Trey Franks lost his balance, went down on his own. Roderick Brown was the closest guy. Mike Gundy told us yesterday, he said, I don't care what you say, we're not the 107th defense in the country. For one thing, they score so fast that their defense is out there a lot. But you can look at it the other way and say, well, get the other team off the field.
Get them off the field on third down, and they're doing that tonight. And here's another big third down play.
Let's see if they can get them off the field again. 3rd and 7 for the Sooners. Another blitz as Jones lets fly to the far side, and a good catch by Jazz Reynolds, and a nice throw as well, and it's first down Oklahoma.
These two quarterbacks in this game are so similar. They both have big leg arms. I mean, that's a throw from the left hash to the right sideline on a rope. Perfect timing, perfect spot for the ball outside. Very difficult, if not impossible, to defend when the throw is that good.
First down, Oklahoma at the Cowboy 35. Play fake was a good one. Jones, deep, middle, skipped, almost intercepted, and intended for Jazz Reynolds again.
Beautiful play by Justin Gilbert. I mean, he was right there, stride for stride with Reynolds, and at the last minute, ripped that arm in and knocked the ball up in the air. Watch Gilbert get his right hand in, knock the ball in the air, and almost another interception for this ball-hawking defense of Oklahoma State.
Markel Martin stretching out, got his left hand on it, but couldn't hold it. So the Sooners avoid a turnover there. Find themselves in 2nd down and 10. Quick throw. Oh, hello. Sean Lewis on Trey Franks.
Sean Lewis read that so quickly, he just ripped right through the block, or the attempted block by James Hanna, the tight end. Hanna's a bigger guy, but this is a game of leverage. And Sean Lewis was under the block and ran right through him to the ball carrier.
Lewis last year had 12 tackles and 2 interceptions. We showed you one of them. One of them went 52 yards for a touchdown last year against Oklahoma. He's making his presence felt again tonight. 3rd and 14, and it's getting loud in here. Jones fires high, could have been caught, but wasn't. DeJuan Miller.
3-man rush by Oklahoma State. They've been pressuring a lot. That time they chose to drop 8. And Landry Jones, this is not a great throw. It's high and behind. I mean, DeJuan Miller has missed some catchable balls. This is not a good throw by Landry Jones on an open receiver.
Still got to make that catch. Tressway's got to punt it again. 31 inside the 20-yard line this year. High end-over-end kick. And fair caught at the 15 by Cooper. Just under 10 minutes remaining 2nd quarter. Oklahoma State leading by 10. Sooners have yet to score. Oklahoma State leading 10-0, 9:55 remaining in the 2nd quarter. As we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, after Brandon Whedon hit Tracy Moore on a 53-yard pass, it was Jeremy Smith from 9 yards out, capping a 68-yard march, 7-0. Sooners were driving, then Brandon Brown, interception in the end zone. That ended up leading to a Quinn Sharp 25-yard field goal. And that's where we are, 10-0. Cowboys in front, and they've got the ball at their own 15-yard line. Whedon, plenty of time, and throws this one away.
You know, he threw that one away, but it's worth making a point. Last year in this game, coming into the game, Oklahoma defensively had shown all 4-man front. And when they got to this game, they went to a 3-man front, and it really caught Oklahoma State and Brandon Whedon off guard. He even told us he felt like they got out-schemed in the game last year. Now this year they were anticipating it, and you can tell because the offensive line, the backs have done a great job of picking up all the different stunts and pressures that Oklahoma has brought.
Whedon's only hit 1 of his last 4 passes, now 1 of 5 as Fleming makes the play on Blackman. Incomplete.
Well, that's the matchup that they want. Fleming underneath with a safety, in this case Tony Jefferson over the top if they need help.
Good play. Got that left arm around there and then made sure. Meanwhile, Frank Alexander, probably the best guy on that defensive front for the Sooners. The senior out of Baton Rouge is shaken up.
And that could be critical because they're already playing without Ronell Lewis, who injured a knee a couple weeks ago. Ronell Lewis had 13 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, and the combination of Lewis and Alexander has been a big part of Oklahoma's defensive success this year.
It's going to bring in Stacy McGee to take Frank's spot. Frank had that huge game against Texas. He had 6 tackles, I should say, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. You get a chance to spend some time with him earlier in the year. And a very engaging fella at 6'4", 255, and never misses his frosted flakes in the morning.
Well, the way he's coming off the field, shaking that left arm, it looks like a left shoulder, kind of a stinger kind of thing on his left side.
Meanwhile, it's 3rd down and 10 for the Cowboys. They're only 1 of 4 on their 3rd down conversion so far tonight. Whedon fires deep on the sideline. Got Blackman out of bounds and 1st down.
I mentioned the routes that you throw against double coverage, a deep in and a corner route. This is a corner. So you've got underneath coverage and a safety over the top, but you run away from the safety to the sideline, and when your quarterback is as accurate as Whedon, you can still throw to a guy who's double covered.
Got that left foot down, picked up 20, they go right back to him, picks up 11 more. So now the pitch and catch combination of Whedon and Blackman has been so effective, not only this year, but last year, starting to go to work again. Randall. And he made something out of nothing. I thought they had the door closed on him, but he popped through there. And he picked up about 6.
Tell you what, I don't like the body language of the Oklahoma defense right now. You've got Frank Alexander that had to come out. Tom Wirt just took himself out of the game here. They've given up a couple completions to Blackman. They look a little bit dazed.
We didn't like their body language against Texas Tech either, did we?
Nope.
2nd down at 4. Quick toss out to Cooper. He's met head on. There's a good open field stop. Jamel Fleming met him head on and dropped him for a loss. Again, wearing number 12. This would have been Austin Bach's final game of the regular season. A senior out of Enid, Oklahoma. Probably the best football player to come out of Enid, Oklahoma. Probably the best basketball player to come out of there, Mark Price. There they wear the sticker in honor of their teammate who passed away. Whedon fires high, incomplete. Intended over there for Tracy Moore.
Well, DeMontre Hurst was in position to make a play, and it looked like he just went to knock the ball down. If he'd have gone with 2 hands, he might have been able to get an interception here. Brandon Whedon kind of threw this one up for grabs.
So Quinn Sharp. Punting hasn't been that great tonight. It had been coming into the game. This one's a mile in the air, but not very deep again. Fair catch taken at the 21-yard line by Kenny Stills as we check in with Holly Rowe. How?
Well, we see the number 12 on the field tonight, Jamel Fleming. They've rotated that number, as we talked about, all season long, so they could remember Austin Bach's. Guys, tonight they did hang his jersey here in the Stillwater locker room. They want him with him. They want the memory of him to keep strong in their minds. And guys, they bring this helmet to the practice field all season long. Different guys have worn that jersey, and they say that they have a special pride when they wear it, that they want to represent the passion and the emotion that he played with. And guys, it's definitely with them here in Stillwater tonight.
We still talk to these kids and the coaches, and they get very emotional talking about Austin Bach. You might say, Landry Jones wears number 12 every week. Well, he went to Austin's parents and said, I'll change numbers if you want me to. They said, no, we want you to wear number 12 on the offensive side of the ball. And here is number 12 offensively down the middle, completing it to Trey Franks. Pickup of about 8 with 8 minutes remaining in the quarter.
You know, the feel of this game is that Oklahoma State is dominating the game, but they're only up by 10. So a touchdown here for Oklahoma before the half puts them right back in the football game.
And Finch has got a first down out to the 35.
You know, they just haven't quite got on track offensively. They've not gotten any big chunk plays, any deep crossing routes or deep vertical routes, but they are very much in this football game.
Again, Millard flanking Landry Jones. The throwback comes to the near side of Franks, and Franks almost broke through there. He did get a first down out to the 47-yard line. When a famous explorer goes missing on the Amazon River, his family goes on a dangerous search to find him. Executive producer Steven Spielberg. The River series premiere Tuesday, February 7th, right here on ABC. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our ESPN on ABC crew from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Boone Pickens Stadium. Packed house for Bedlam between the Cowboys and the Sooners. And the Cowboys have the better of it so far at the 7-minute mark of the quarter. They lead 10-0. Blitz coming. It's picked up, and Jones fires complete to the 40. Camille Jackson, the freshman.
Yeah, Camille Jackson got a great block on the play to Franks and makes a nice catch when he's getting hit on the football on that play for another first down. And Jackson is in right now because of the absence of Jazz Reynolds.
Jazz Reynolds, who was sick on the sideline, we noticed during the last time out. We don't know whether or not he'll be back in there or not. Well, the wide receivers for Oklahoma being tested with their leading receiver out and one of their top receivers not feeling well. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, Oklahoma doesn't give out injury information, but what I've observed is Jazz definitely lost his lunch. I can tell you exactly what he had for pregame. And he's trying to collect himself over the sideline right now. He doesn't feel well. He looks terrible. Also, Frank Alexander, they patted him on the back after examining his left shoulder. It looks like he can come back.
Jones, long throw on 2nd and 8. It's right on the money to Kenny Stills. And Landry Jones in a groove right now. He's hit his last 4.
Yeah, again, this is a tempo offense, a rhythm pass offense, and Landry Jones shows that arm strength again. The deep out route with not much air under the football, very difficult to defend.
Todd McShay, our draft expert, has Andrew Luck as the #1 quarterback. Matt Barkley, if he comes out, as #2. They've got Landry Jones in that top 3 or 4.
Yeah, he's listed as 3. Robert Griffin III also listed in that top 5, the kid from Baylor.
Finch, again, somehow slips through and gets almost 4 yards. All 5'7", 166 pounds of it. I would think Brandon Whedon would be in the discussion about top quarterbacks, too. I know the fact that he's 28 years old might scare some people, but...
Well, Todd McShay has him as a 2nd or 3rd rounder. I think he might be a little bit better than that, personally. Very accurate thrower. Great arm.
Of course, there's precedence in that drafting a 28-year-old. Chris Wenke was basically the same age. And he came out of Florida State as a Heisman Trophy winner. 2nd down and 6. 2 tight ends set. Clock winding down. Play clock at 4. Pressure coming on Jones. They pick it up. He throws, and it's tipped and almost intercepted by Justin Gilbert. Trying to throw a streak down there in the corner, intended for Kenny Stills.
Well, I mentioned how much he's missed Ryan Broyles in 2 key areas, on 3rd down and in the red zone. And Landry Jones in the red zone the last few weeks has really struggled.
Stills was out of bounds anyway. 9th play of the Sooner drive. They started this way back at their own 22-yard line. They don't want to miss this opportunity. Trailing by 10 with under 5 to go in the half. Boy, everybody up close for the Cowboys. They're going to bring that many. They are. Jones running for his life.
That's a
ball is out, and it's scooped up by Blacknick, and he might go. Blacknick down the sideline. Still on his feet inside the 5. A 59-yard fumble return, and the Cowboys are at the 1-yard line.
Alex Elkins, the linebacker, number 37, is going to come unblocked and strip the football football. Landry Jones is trying to throw it away to avoid a sack, to at least kick a field goal, and he can't get rid of the football. And then Blacknick shows some speed down the sideline, almost getting it to the end zone. But Alex Elkins with the inside blitz stripped the football, and what a huge turnaround play for the Cowboys.
Blacknick made one of the captains for this game, showing why. Having a great first half, and he set up the offense at the Sooner 1-yard line.
What a turnaround. Momentum for Oklahoma. A good drive. At least they're going to get 3 points, and now they might go down 17.
A full house backfield loaded to the right. For that man, Joe Randall. Touchdown. Joseph Randall's 22nd rushing touchdown of the year. And right now it's all Cowboys.
Well, they overloaded the side. Staley and Paulson, the two fullbacks in, clearing the way.
17-0. OSU. A 1-yard drive in one play. But the play that set it up was the captain from Salina, Texas, who scoops and almost scored. His tailback did it for him on the next snap. 17-0. The reaction in Gambari, Afghanistan, the brigade headquarters for a lot of the National Guardsmen from Oklahoma. And obviously Cowboy fans cheering, Sooner fans unhappy. 17-0. The Cowboys in front on a huge defensive play by Jamie Blacknick, who took it all the way down to the 1-yard line. And then Joseph Randall did the rest. And now the Sooners are in some trouble.
You know, when Mike Gundy said to us yesterday, I don't care, we're not the 107th defense. I wasn't sure I believed him, but tonight, boy, they sure have proven it.
Sooners have had 6 possessions, 4 punts, and a couple of turnovers. On the kick return, flags go down as Trey Franks doesn't even make the 20-yard line. And this is a fired-up group of Cowboys right now.
During a return, holding 27. Half the distance to the goal.
And it's getting worse for Oklahoma. Going to have to start inside their own 10-yard line or close to it. Time for tonight's Aflac trivia question. In '76, the Cowboys beat the Sooners to share the Big 8 title. Who were the head coaches for each team? In fact, it was a 3-way tie that year for the Big 8 title. Colorado was in the mix too, but just between these two teams, who were the coaches?
Well, it's interesting. This rivalry, and really,
that's what I was talking about. The Sooners punt, interception, punt, punt, fumble. It's not a good lineup.
No.
Inside the 10 for the Sooners. They move Miller, the fullback. He goes right back to where he started as Williams goes that way. And they've got him all wrapped up for a loss of a couple. Guess who? The guy that just made the big play on the previous series comes up with a stop on that one. Now you got to be kind of careful here too. I mean, you throw an errant pass.
Yep.
The Cowboys, the way they've been stealing things, they might steal another one, and that would be a disaster. They fake the draw. Jones from his own goal line, and now in his own end zone, and he throws it away.
Oklahoma looks all out of sorts. Left tackle Donald Stevenson getting into a little scrape at the end of the play with Ricchetti Jones. And, you know, when things are going like this, you kind of lose your focus. The helmet comes off. And at this point, Donald Stevenson, I mean, he turns it into a one-on-one deal, and Landry Jones has to throw the football away.
3rd and 11. Jones again in his own end zone. Fires down the middle, high and incomplete. Intended for hand of the tight end. And now the Sooners a quick 3 and out, and they're going to have to kick with their punter backed up to his own end line.
Well, it's pretty easy to answer the question, which defense has been able to affect the opposing quarterback the most? Hands down, Oklahoma State has affected Landry Jones much more than the Sooners have gotten to Brandon Weeden.
Remember, this group of Cowboys has really gotten in Tressway's way trying to punt tonight. Let's see if they bring the heat on him again. They did, but he got it out of there. And Cooper on a fair catch. Great field position for the Cowboys with all their timeouts remaining and 3:36 left in the quarter as we check in and we get an update from Robert Flores.
All right, Brad, check out in the Big Ten championship game, Michigan State and Wisconsin. Keith Nickel, the guy that caught the Hail Mary in the first game between these two, the little flip to B.J. Cunningham, who scores. They went for 2 and got it. Spartans leading by just 1 over the Badgers in Indianapolis.
A good one there and a lopsided one right now, and it could get worse. 17-0 Cowboys. They've got it. The Sooner 43 after the punt, and now some motion. Parker Graham might have been the false start.
Number 71, 5-yard penalty. First down.
And it was indeed a false start. A little bit earlier, we asked you tonight's trivia question. It was 76 Cowboys beat the Sooners, sharing the Big 8 title. Who were the head coaches for each team? Barry Switzer for the Sooners and Jim Stanley for Oklahoma State. Jim's 76 now, living in Chandler, Arizona. He is fighting cancer. He was part of the Junction Boys back in 1956 at A&M. And Jim, we just want to wish you the best with your battle. Right now, Oklahoma State is winning the battle by big margin, trying to add to it, but a nice play by Demontre Hurst to break up that pass to Josh Cooper.
Actually, that was a pretty good play by Josh Cooper to break up an interception, too. You could go either way on that because the ball was kind of thrown into traffic, and Hurst had a shot at it, and Cooper did a nice job of turning from offense to defense as well.
Right now, the Sooners would just like to come up with a stop. Inside handoff, look out, Randall! Tripped up. Tony Jefferson saved a touchdown. But a 32-yard run by Joseph Randall.
Well, the center, watch the center get a block on the linebacker, Lewis. Does a great job of sealing the inside on Travis Lewis, and that was all that Randall needed to get to the next level.
Weeden back to work, flips it out to Randall. Stop for no gain by Aaron Colvin.
You know, that center, Grant Garner, a senior, has been battling a bad ankle since the A&M game. Really did a nice job of getting out in front of that play, getting to the second level, and springing the back.
Jeremy Smith comes in. He's going to give Randall a breather in the Cowboy backfield. Brandon Weeden trying to get him lined up. Second down at 10. 3 receivers to the left. Weeden's looking that way. Throws a quick in to Cooper. Spins out of 1 tackle. Can't get away from Travis Lewis.
With just no pressure at all on Brandon Weeden. I mean, he's too accurate of a guy to allow to throw in rhythm, to put his back foot in the ground, and to just throw when he wants to. You've got to make him move his feet to move him off his mark, and Oklahoma has not been able to do that.
He doesn't even have a wrinkle in his jersey, much less a grass stain. Quick throw, tucking it into traffic. They're trying to rip it out of there, but they can't. That's a first down throw, and it's 1st and goal to Blackman.
Yeah, good luck trying to rip the ball out from him. You might rip it out of some other guys. It'll be pretty tough to rip that ball out of his arms.
Now the Cowboys threatening again. 1st and goal at the 5. Handoff, Smith to the 2.
Well, the last time they were in this area, they brought in their extra backs. They ran a power play. Even though they're in the shotgun, they still can run a power, kind of a goal line run. They bring Staley, number 9, and Paulson, number 30, into the game.
The last time they got down close, they showed the same setup. And then they brought another back into the near side and gave it to Randall, and he scored from a yard out. It's 2nd and goal at the 2. They do the same thing to the left. Randall gets a call, and he scores again. Touchdown, Oklahoma State.
Well, that was great blocking by the center Garner, the right guard Lane Taylor. Both of those extra backs got in there. Lane Taylor, the right guard, just wiped out half of the defensive front.
24-0.
Watch Lane Taylor, the right guard, just cave in the defense. The backs follow through the hole, and Randall walks into the end zone untouched.
Welcome to the studio. I'm John Saunders. Coming up on the Capital One Halftime Report, I'll be joined by Jesse Palmer as we talk about the SEC Championship game won by LSU. Robert Griffin III, did he pick up a few more Heisman votes? Plus, championship games in the ACC and the Big Ten. All coming up on the Capital One Halftime Report.
All right, John. As you said, LSU rolling over Georgia. Right now, the Cowboys are rolling over the Sooners. 24-0 with just over a minute to play in the half. Quinn Sharp to kick. Knocks it deep. Franks, 5 yards in, will take a knee. Oklahoma State, a couple of weeks ago, suffered their only loss. They were playing with heavy hearts after the death of 2 women's basketball coaches. Quinn Sharp missed a 37-yard field goal. Take another look at it. You be the judge on that one. Second overtime, Brandon Whedon gets picked off. And then Jeff Woody punches it in to give Iowa State the upset win, 37-31, snapping an 11-game winning streak, setting off that celebration in Ames. But tonight they look like a different team.
Yeah. Well, and that's that one loss separating them from a chance to play in the national championship game with a win tonight. Maybe.
Slip screen, Trey Franks. He's going to cross all the way over to the other side of the field to get the 5 yards that he got. And Justin Gilbert put him down over there. Well, you got to, if you're a Sooner fan, think, you know what, we score 43 points a game. Somewhere along the line we're going to score to try to get back in it. I don't know if they've got enough time to get back in it before halftime with a touchdown, but that's what they're looking for. And down the middle, and that was almost intercepted, but it was caught by Trey Franks.
Yeah, the reason it was caught is because Franks kept coming towards the ball. You want a receiver to move towards the ball to cut off the defender, and that's what Franks did.
First down at the 39. Landry Jones pressured, throws it. Roy Finch is going to get out of bounds after getting what he can.
That's interesting. You know, when you think of a rivalry game, it's really not a great rivalry unless both teams kind of win their share. And this has been so dominated by Oklahoma. We take a look at a player being attended to.
Eddie Jones is down.
Yep. But it's interesting because Mike Gundy was telling us when we beat them in 2000, 2001, it got their coach's attention. And they started to take the rivalry a little bit more seriously. And then Bob Stoops told me on Thursday when I was up in Norman that, you know, the better that they've gotten the last couple years, the more intense the rivalry has become.
Exactly.
You know, even though they've won 8 in a row, the games here in Stillwater could have gone either way. And right now, Mike Gundy hoping that his team can take that next step in winning this game and winning an outright Big 12 championship and getting to a BCS Bowl.
Mike didn't win in this series as a quarterback. He was on the staff that won it the last time, and that was here. I was here to see that game, and the head coach was Les Miles.
Yeah.
The mad cowboy hatter. And, of course, Les won today in Atlanta, and his Tigers of LSU will play for the national championship. So 23 seconds remaining. Oklahoma's got all its timeouts remaining. They got to cover a lot of ground here to try to get a touchdown before halftime. Pressure coming off the corner. Sooners pick it up. Landry Jones goes back the other way, completes it. James Hanna, the tight end's got a first down and out of bounds at the 42.
Now, right now, if you're Landry Jones, I mean, you got to think we got to at least get in position to try a field goal. We need some points on the board before halftime.
Jones again to Stills this time. He's shoved out of bounds, but he's got a first down at the 31.
That's why you work the sidelines here. Even though you have timeouts, you work the sideline to stop the clock. You got those timeouts in case you want to take a shot in the middle. You can stop the clock with a timeout.
Landry Jones has hit his last 5. I'll give the Sooners offensive line credit. They're picking up the Cowboy blitzes pretty well to give Jones at least enough time to get rid of the ball. And this time he goes incomplete. And it was Broderick Brown who's made some nice plays on the corner. Camille Jackson is the intended receiver. Broderick Brown, remember, he had the interception in the end zone that thwarted a Sooner drive earlier in this half. Final 8 seconds now. Maybe time for 2 plays, depending on how deep you throw it.
Well, it's either got to be one really quick one or you take a shot at the end zone.
It's going to be the quick one, and it's over the head of Camille Jackson, and now they'll have one deep throw. Kenny Stills has been the #1 target tonight for Landry Jones.
See, they wanted one more completion just to make this a little better, easier attempt. They got to get points. I mean, that's what Bob Stoops is saying. We got to have something that we can hang our hat in when we go to the locker room to give us some kind of momentum to come out and play the second half.
Honeycutt is hit from 53 this year, so this is in his range from 48. And it hit the right upright, and it went through. Wow, that was a lucky ricochet. But like Todd said, take anything you can get right now. If that's momentum, I don't know. A 48-yard field goal. Michael Honeycutt, and he couldn't have cut it any closer than right here as it skims off the upright and in as we check in with Holly.
Well, Coach, your defense has been maligned at times this season, but what would you say they've done to be so disruptive in this first half?
Well, they've been very active. They're running the ball really well, and they're getting their hands on some of those passes down the field, so we just got to keep it up.
Your running game really helped set a momentum early. How were you able to do that?
Well, we worked hard on running the football the last couple of weeks. We need to continue to run the ball in the second half.
We know they can come back. They've got firepower. What do you have to do in the second half not to let up?
Well, our kids are prepared, and they'll play hard. They got to come out and keep executing in all 3 phases.
Thanks, Coach.
Trying to snap an 8-game losing streak to the Sooners and make a BCS game as Big 12 champions. They're halfway there, 24-3 as we go to John Saunders in our studio for the Capital One halftime report. John? State and Oklahoma combining to play Amazing Grace in the memory of women's basketball coach Kurt Budke, Miranda Cerna, his assistant, and Olin and Paula Brandstatter, the pilot, and his wife, who perished in that plane crash that devastated the whole state of Oklahoma, but obviously all the folks here in Stillwater. And it was on the morning of the only loss they suffered all season, the overtime loss to Iowa State. Here at halftime, it's a brighter moment if you're a Cowboy fan as you take a look at the halftime statistics. 254 to 204, but the turnovers and the points off That's the key to the whole ball game right now, with the exception of the fact that Oklahoma State's been able to run the ball and Oklahoma hasn't. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler, Ty Blackfish. My partner looks much tougher than me because he doesn't have a coat or gloves on, and you are tougher than me.
No.
Somebody's going to have to get tough in this second half, though, or this one's going to get away from Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the thing that has surprised me the most in the game so far, I expected Brandon Weeden and the Oklahoma State offense to move the football, score points. They've done it all year. But the Oklahoma State defense has played better than I ever anticipated. Yep. Now, they've stopped Oklahoma. They've forced them off the field on third down. And they've done what they've done all year, which is forced turnovers. They're 38th and 39th forced turnover of the season.
I almost kidded around about the coach because it's dropped several degrees and the wind has really picked up, and it could be a factor for sure in the second half. That ball bobbled at the 1. Justin Gilbert will go back and take a knee as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, checking in with Oklahoma coach Bob Stutz at the half, obviously he's frustrated. He said his defense hasn't been playing good run defense. Their linebackers have gotten out of some of their gaps, and they've just missed tackles. But more importantly, he's frustrated with his offense. He said penalties and drop passes, particularly on the plus side of the 50-yard line, have killed him. He said, we're moving the ball. We just have made so many mistakes. We haven't put points on the board. He said with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, it was 10-0. We thought we could handle that, but things just slipped away.
Well, Bob Stoops has won 8 straight. 10-2 overall against the Cowboys. They would love to get a stop to open up the third quarter. Brandon Weeden wants points down the middle. Overshot. Tracy Moore, who he hit on a 53-yarder in the first quarter of this game. But you always want to see a 3-and-out if you're trailing from your defense on the first series of the third.
Well, they got the points right before they went to the locker room, barely. Now they need their defense to step up.
Justin Blackman, they flip it to him on a sweep, and Blackman's got a first down. So just an underhand toss to his #1 receiver this time from Weeden.
Yeah, they use that motion. They don't often use it with Blackman, and I think it kind of fooled the Oklahoma defense. He's not the fastest receiver, but he got out there with a lot of green grass in front of him.
So first down at the 33 for the Cowboys. And that's Cooper on the move. Weeden, who hasn't been touched tonight. Blackman, first down at the 47.
Well, I talked about both of these quarterbacks in the game and the strength of their arm. There's Weeden's example. Left hash, right sideline, deep out route. Very little air under the ball, thrown to the outside. Very, very difficult to defend. If the corner gives the receiver some cushion, hard to make a play on it.
Blackman, after back-to-back first downs, gets a breather. Michael Harrison comes into his spot. Weeden, they almost got to him that time, and it's Harrison who just came in who makes the catch.
Well, what a beautiful throw, because Corey Nelson came unblocked, and Brandon Weeden didn't flinch. I mean, he just stayed right in there and adjusted the throw. Watch Nelson come from the top, unblocked, and Weeden just stays in there and slings it out there.
Now he gives it to Joseph Randall on a little counter, faking the pass and giving it to him on an inside handoff. Got 2 before Travis Lewis made the hit. Travis Lewis making his 52nd career start for that defense of Oklahoma. As Todd said, been playing with a bad foot, a broken toe all year long. That thing won't heal until probably about late February, if he's lucky, after the bowl games. Weeden on a bootleg, going deep. Flags are down. Blackman trying to stay with the ball. Jamel Fleming was covering. See if he made contact with the ball in the air going down that sideline. Here's the call.
See, the thing with Brandon Weeden, he knows even if this guy's covered, it's still worth giving him a shot to make a play because of his anticipation, his jumping ability, and his strength. Even when it looks like he's covered well, like he was that time, go ahead and throw the ball up and see if he can make a play or draw a penalty.
First down at the 26 by penalty. And now Weeden stands tall, deep middle, and ball was up for grabs for a second. Tony Jefferson almost scooped it up. Isaiah Anderson, the intended receiver. Boy, talk about one that got away. The Oklahoma Sooners could ever use a turnover to be right now and stop this drive. And almost, as it was tipped in the air.
It almost landed right in his lap.
Yeah. I think maybe if Jamel Fleming doesn't get his hand in there, it does land in his lap. As it is, 2nd and 10. Whedon flares it out. Smith taken down by his jersey by Fleming.
You know, we showed Jefferson almost getting that interception, the free safety. He actually has been a outside linebacker, kind of a nickelback type player for most of the season. They moved him to free safety for this game. He replaced Javon Harris, and he's done pretty well back there for his first week in that position.
And they stop the Cowboys on 3rd and 5. Blackman was in motion. They flare it out to him. He's not going to get to the sticks. Pushed out of bounds after a yard gain by Colvin. So that's a victory of sorts for the Sooners defense. Unless the Cowboys go for this thing, I don't think they're going to. I got to think they're going to bring out the field goal unit.
You mentioned the wind. They're kicking with the wind, it appears, right now on this kick. But when this game started, the flag was dead still. I remember talking to Bob Stoops on the field, saying we had a perfect night. Yep. No wind at all, and it is increasingly gotten windier and colder.
Sharp will try a 37-yard field goal. They hit a short one earlier in the ball game. The kick out of the way, and it is perfect. 3 more for Oklahoma State, but it could have been worse if you're a Sooner fan. They hold him to a field goal. 12:02 to go, 3rd quarter. Welcome back to ESPN on ABC Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week. These guys trying to win the Big 12 conference title. Just went 60 yards in 9 plays. Quinn Sharp with a 37-yard field goal capping things off. Whedon was 4 for 6 on that drive, and with that, over 4,300 passing yards, breaking his own school record last season when he had 4,277. And that guy just went over the single season reception mark that he set last year when he had 111, 112.
Not a bad couple of years for those two,
I'd say.
Jeez.
And again, the kick is deep. Trey Franks can't handle it. Oklahoma has to work from the 20-yard line. Monday Night Football, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers trying to stay in the AFC West race. He'll take on Maurice Jones-Drew and the Jaguars. Chargers and Jags, Monday night, 8:30 Eastern. Also available live on Watch ESPN. Starts with Applebee's Monday Night Countdown at 7.
It's interesting. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, spent 4 years with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when he talks about being around Brandon Whedon, he says with his age and maturity, it's like being around an NFL guy. He's a very bright guy, studies the game, loves the game. Very familiar to him, like working with NFL quarterbacks.
Landry Jones fanned one, lost the handle. Oklahoma State, if it's not a pass, it's a touchdown. Rachetti Jones, and it looks like it indeed is another Cowboy score.
Well, his hand and arm was definitely coming forward. The question is, did the ball come out before? I think it did. I think the ball came out as it was going back. The arm came forward without the football, and I think that's going to stand as a fumble.
They'll take a look at this one, obviously. But after fumbling earlier and having Blatnick go all the way down to the 1-yard line, another disastrous turnover, if indeed it is, for Oklahoma.
You know, you mentioned the weather getting colder. And what happens to a football when it gets colder is it gets slicker. It gets harder to hang on to. It's not wet, but it's dry and cold, and that football gets cold, hard, and slippery.
He wanted to get rid of it as fast as he could. Jones was right in his face. And again, as Todd said, the arm came forward, but the ball appeared to go backward.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Wow. It is blowing up in the face of the Sooners right now. And 2 defensive linemen have made 2 of the biggest plays of the night.
Yep.
A couple of seniors, both Texas natives.
And again, the turnovers. They've done it all year, and sometimes you just have those seasons where that ball bounces your way That was turnover number 40 that they forced on the season.
Sharp for the point after. Boy, they are enjoying it right now at Boone Pickens Stadium. At least everybody that's decked in orange and black. Another disastrous turnover. The Cowboys find the handle in the end zone, and it's 34-3.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Vote now at coachoftheyear.com. And the 2012 Ford F-150 with available EcoBoost. Visit Ford.com/big score to learn more.
Back in Stillwater, they're almost partying already. Oklahoma State by 31. And we've still got 11:56 to go in the third quarter. Trying to snap an 8-game losing skid. Landry Jones has had a couple of fumbles. One that was returned to the 1-yard line. The last one was returned to the end zone. And the Sooners are in a huge hole. See if they can dig themselves out. Trey Franks from the 6. And Franks out to the 25-yard line as we check in with Robert Flores. Robert?
All right, Brad, ACC championship game from Charlotte, a rematch from earlier this season. Clemson starting to open things up against number 5 Virginia Tech. Taj Boyd to Sammy Watkins, the freshman, all alone, and it's 24-10, third quarter. Hokies, one of the hottest teams in the country, but down big in the second half.
Tigers finally finding their mojo a little bit after a rough month. Can Oklahoma find any sort of mojo here in the third quarter to get back in this game? On the ground, Finch out to the 30.
You know, that Virginia Tech game means something to the people here in Stillwater because in the human polls, Virginia Tech is ahead of Oklahoma State. And the way that the Cowboys are playing tonight, if this holds up, if that holds up in Charlotte, Stanford, the other team ahead of them, not playing. They didn't get to play in the Pac-12 championship game last night, so that game has a lot of meaning to the folks here.
Play fake. They whip it out to Trey Franks. Franks, who's got a first down, puts his head down, barrels his way to the 40. Justin Gilbert met him there, but a 10-yard pickup. Oklahoma, they have no trouble huddling because very seldom do they. So they hustle up to the line, preserving every precious second here in this second half, trailing 34-3.
Yeah, that is one of the benefits of this kind of offense is you kind of run 2-minute offense all the time.
Finch spins his way past one tackler and picks up 6 or 7 yards before Elkins can make the stop. First half, Oklahoma could not get anything going on the ground. And now they're really hurrying. Finch again. And this time he's going to be close to the first down. Might have it, depending on the spot. Doesn't take long for either one of these teams to put points on the board. Oklahoma State 148. And Oklahoma 204 on their lowest average time at touchdown drives. And all those other high-powered offenses, with the exception of Florida, really in that top 5 category as well. First down, just shaded on the Sooner side of midfield. Williams met in the hole, only got about a yard. And it was Sean Lewis who's had another exceptional game at the outside linebacker spot for Oklahoma State.
I tell you, I think the week off that Oklahoma State had really benefited them in a lot of ways. I mean, they're a very fresh-looking football team tonight defensively. Got a lot of speed, a lot of jump in their step tonight. Offensively, their running game has been much better than it's been the last few weeks.
Jones throws on the run, completes it, or did he? Millard, did he trap it? The official is going to give him the catch. Millard, the fullback, lays out. Well, looked pretty good from there.
Yeah, that's pretty good effort.
And now Williams, and now he lost the ball. And the Cowboys have got it. Levy made the hit.
Well, one of the things that we said for Oklahoma State to have a chance to win, one of their keys was to win the turnover battle.
And that's 4.
That makes it 4-0. That's winning it.
Winning it big. There's Levy with a hit right on the ball. And Collins, 98, is going to be the guy that comes in at the back of the play and finds the football. The wheels are falling off the Boomer Schooner right now. Whedon will give it off on the inside to Randall. Tough 2 or 3. Tom Hort, the middle linebacker, made the hit. You know, you mentioned the time off, 2 weeks in between games, and Mike Gundy was telling us not only did we get a little bit healthier, but he said after the plane crash that we talked about at halftime, he said, I had to get everybody out of here. Yeah. I just said, go home, be with your family for a while, get away from football. And he said it seemed to help everybody when they came back. They were ready to play, and boy, they have been ready to play tonight. Whedon on a crossing route to Cooper, cut down, loss of a yard on the play.
Now, the other thing that they were able to do with the bye week is you're able to, you've already rested and given some days off. When you bring them back, you can get into some more physical practices and do some more. They did more inside running drills against their own defense with that extra time, and it's really shown tonight.
They're down at 7. 3rd and long doesn't necessarily mean a lot to this group. They're used to throwing it. This time, though, way out in front of Cooper, and Oklahoma State will have to punt. Just under 8 minutes now remaining 3rd quarter, and Quinn Sharp set to kick. Kenny Stills waits on the other end. That's another thing Ryan Broyles did exceptionally well, returning punts for the Sooners. Well, Stills backpedaled, misplayed it a little bit, had to let it go, and now it's going to roll down inside the 10. So an excellent kick, good coverage. Landry Jones has had a very, very rough night. He'll try to turn it around a little bit when we return. Take a look at our Pacific Live game summary. And Todd, about 2.5 hours ago, you talked about the keys to the game, and boy, were you right on it.
Well, Oklahoma had to win the rush battle. They've been not able to do that. They've had to try to affect Brandon Whedon. They haven't done that. And Oklahoma State, on the other hand, has done exactly what they needed to do: win turnovers and take care of their quarterback. And it's been a very clean performance for the Cowboys.
Sooners inside their own 10. Brennan Clay is in their backfield right now, and he'll get the carry. Trying to get to the edge, and he's not going to get anywhere near it. Markel Martin came up to force from the secondary.
Again, this is a different look at Oklahoma State defense than they've shown this year. Again, 107th in the country in total defense coming into the game. 102nd in pass defense coming into the game. They have been all over the place tonight.
Jones from his own goal line flares it out. Clay gets out across the 10. Bill Young has got to be smiling right now, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, as they have been kind of maligned this year. And not only that, but Bill's been part of Bedlam on both sides. He was an assistant coach at Oklahoma back in the day too. So right now his defense is playing lights out. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, all through the Oklahoma State football complex yesterday, we saw signs that were posted up that said "Countdown to Greatness 9." We asked, what does that mean? And it's the takeaways. They're trying to set the NCAA record for takeaways in a season. With 4 tonight, guys, they're almost halfway there. Counting the bowl game, they might make it. But this game's played out just like their season. They've given up a lot of yards, but the takeaways have been the difference.
Exactly. 3rd and 7 with 7 to go in the 3rd quarter. Blitz coming on Jones, and it's going to get him. Zach Craig from his safety spot. A team that's hard to sack, but that's the third tonight for the Cowboys.
Well, he came from a long way off, and there was nobody there to pick him up, and Landry Jones not nimble enough to get away from him. And the frustration of an evening continue for Landry Jones.
Tressway will punt, and the Cowboys should get great field position out of this again. Whoa, and they almost got Tressway again. He hits the turf. The fair catch is taken right about the 40-yard line by Cooper.
Oklahoma State is making a statement tonight.
They are.
I mean, they are playing in every phase much better than their counterparts from Norman. I mean, they are dominating the football game. And they're going after every play. They're blitzing, they're going after the punts, they're attacking on offense.
They almost got to that one again. And they got a little piece of Tressway's ankle, at least with a hand slap. Nothing called. Cowboys again in Sooner territory at the 40. They might want a big hit right here. Down the sideline, and a little miscommunication between receiver Justin Blackman and his quarterback. We asked Raymond Whedon yesterday, what would mean more, beating Oklahoma or getting a BCS game? And I said, I understand that question's tied together. He said, for me personally, beating Oklahoma. For the program and Oklahoma State, it's getting to a BCS game and winning a conference crown. So while they're tied together, it meant more to him to beat the guys in the crimson and white. Reese, Kirk, Craig James, the All-State BCS selection show tomorrow night. They'll unveil the final poll, let you know who's playing in the national championship and all the other bowl games. 8:15 Eastern and then 9 Eastern. College football bowl selection and the All-State BCS selection show tomorrow night on ESPN. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our crew in Stillwater, where it's all Cowboys right now here in the third quarter. And here's Smith breaking free again and scoring again. Touchdown. He scored the first one of the night. Now he's got a 37-yarder to his credit. And now the question starts being, how much of a statement are they making? And will they start to sway the voters' minds a little bit? Because this is becoming a rout against the number 10 team in the country. The number 3 team is making a statement, 41-3.
Jeremy Smith just ran through the arm tackle of Corey Nelson. Corey Nelson, normally a dependable linebacker. Watch number 7. He's unblocked. He gets an arm around him, but that's not enough. And Jeremy Smith fights through it. And at the end of the play, Tracy Moore, the wide receiver, number 87, gets a great block. And Smith able to waltz into the end zone.
Jeremy Smith out of Tulsa Union. Their team just won another 6A title a couple of days ago. There's a lot of kids from that high school on these two teams. They beat Jenks in the semifinals. They beat Broken Arrow by a point. Between Jenks and Tulsa Union, I think they have the last 16 6A championships in this state. They put out a lot of good football players.
Yes, they do.
Wow. I didn't see this one coming, partner.
No, I didn't either. I thought there'd be a lot of points, but I thought they'd be on both sides of the ledger.
Exactly. Sharp's kick might be returnable this time for Trey Franks. And flies across the 25 to about the 26-yard line as we check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Brad, AT&T All-America Player of the Week nominee. Offense struggling. Honey Badger don't care. LSU's Tyrann Mathieu, 100-plus yards in punt returns, including a big one for a touchdown as LSU beats Georgia 42-10 in the SEC title game. They're on to the BCS National Championship game in New Orleans. Text vote to 55862. Question for you fellows. Is Tyrann Mathieu a Heisman finalist?
He might be, Robert. I tell you what, Todd and I are amazed at how much one guy can be around the football like he's been this year. And the Cowboys stop Brandon Williams. Sean Lewis drops him for a loss. Sean Lewis, the outside linebacker, having another big game. And it brings up long yardage, and that's not something that Oklahoma wants to be in. They're minus on the rushing category, and we're less than 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Second down and 12. Jones, and he has another one. His arm apparently hit as that just flops out of bounds near the 30-yard line. We're talking about Tyrann Mathieu, and
yeah, he's one of mine.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. You know, in the thing that Joe Tessitore, the little Heismanology, last week when I sent my 3 guys in, he was one of my 3. And so
nothing's changed your mind, that's for sure.
No, outstanding player.
Landry Jones, plenty of time this time, and drop ball. Finch didn't hold it. That's the way the night's been going for the Sooners.
You know, I want to get back to a little bit. You were talking about the statement that Oklahoma State is making. Mike Gundy made a statement. He said, as of 2008, he said he thinks this team can play with anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I wondered about that because of their defense. But if their defense plays the way they play tonight,
yeah,
I'd have to agree. They can play with anybody.
Tress Way has been a way too busy punter tonight for Oklahoma. Got a nice kick away, though, again under heavy pressure. And this time, no fair catch taken by Cooper. He's going to finally field one. And it goes down in his tracks basically at the 26-yard line. Well, Oklahoma State appears on its way to a win. They would have 5 over current top 25 teams, 7 over top 50 teams. They would be conference champion, which Alabama wouldn't be. And the only losses each in overtime. Alabama to number 1 LSU, and Oklahoma State at Ames against Iowa State a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting earlier this week. Mike Gundy said, you know, if he was voting, which he's not a voter, and if he was fair, he would probably put Alabama ahead of them as well. They lost to the number 1 team in the country in overtime.
Cowboys with the ball back, less than 4.5 to go in the third quarter. And there goes Randall again, all the way to midfield.
Well, they're just ripping them now.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's just, you know, they feel it, they smell it, they taste it, and it's just full throttle. You got a defense that's tired, that's cold. They don't want to tackle right now, and Oklahoma State just keeps it going.
First down at the 48. Whedon flares it out. Randall, this time out of the backfield. He's got another first down and a lot more. Joseph Randall, who had some fumble problems in that loss to Iowa State, and he's holding on to everything tonight.
Now Justin Blackman, we know he's a great receiver, the premier one in college football, possibly also doing his job as a blocker on the perimeter on that play for Randall.
First down at the 35. Inside handoff. And here goes Smith again. Wow, what a 1-2 punch Smith and Randall have been. 15 more yards. So it was 24 yards for Randall. 17 on a draw play. Now 15 for number 31, who's having a huge night.
Well, and the Oklahoma State offensive staff has to be thrilled with the way they're running the football. That was the thing they knew they had to do better at coming into this game. Only 60 yards against Iowa State in that lone loss.
Here's that little handoff on the inside fly sweep. Josh Stewart this time gets the carry and picks up about 3. So we're down to 3 remaining in the third quarter. Back in the red zone and up 41-3. Oklahoma State routing the Sooners right now. Brandon Whedon fires to the end zone, just off the outstretched arms of Josh Stewart.
Yeah, just a hair high. The timing was good. The opening was there. The ball just a little too tall for Josh Stewart. Perfect timing on the throw right out of the break. And if that's lower, it's a touchdown before Jefferson gets there for the hit.
Or if Josh is 6'1" instead of 5'10", it might have been a touchdown. Randall back into the backfield, 3rd down and 8. Blackman, he gets that flip again. And this time Oklahoma waiting for him, maybe a yard gain, and that's it. Demontre Hurst made the stop. And out comes the field goal unit. Quinn Sharp's hit a couple tonight. 25 and 37. And this one's going to be right about 34. Trying to add to a lead and give the Cowboys a 40-point. 44-3 lead. And less than 2 minutes remaining. Mike Gundy, Todd was talking about, in talking with Mike, a lot of people felt like he wasn't really stumping for his team, and he said, you know what, the SEC, they should get the love. They had Florida, LSU 5 straight BCS titles, Florida a 2nd time under Urban Meyer, and then Alabama and Nick Saban, and finally Gene Chizik, Cam Newton, the Heisman Trophy winner in Auburn, 5 straight. And with that, you know, talking with Mike and he talking with the media, he kind of said, you know, we don't belong in that category. LSU's the #1 team, and Alabama's really good. And he said, you know, if we start winning conference championship, if we just win 1 and we keep winning 11 games this season, I'll put us in that category.
And I'll be interested to hear if this continues and they hold on and win what it looks like they're going to, what his tune will sound like in the press conference tonight and tomorrow. Here's the deal. Their defense tonight has shown me something. You know, coming into the game, they were giving up more yards per game and points per game than Alabama and LSU combined. This is a different defense tonight.
Kick. Roy Finch will take a knee, and Oklahoma will have to work from the 20-yard line. The battle of field position has been won in a big way by the Cowboys tonight, too. As you take a look at the All-State top 5 teams in the BCS standings, there's LSU, 1-1 in everybody's mind, and again, a resounding win over Georgia today. Alabama, Oklahoma State, as you can see, the computers like them, but the pollsters aren't crazy about them. And I just wonder how many of those folks are watching tonight going, ooh,
I think
maybe these guys are better.
I think it'll change. Stanford's not playing. Virginia Tech in a battle with Clemson over in Charlotte. And this team putting on a dominant performance against a team they have not beaten for 8 consecutive years.
Less than 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. I'm not sure there's anything the Sooners can do about this, but they're obviously going to keep trying for the next 17 minutes. On the ground, Millard, the fullback. Maybe they should have used him a little bit more tonight. He's a very versatile fullback. Great out of the backfield. That time got close to 10 if he didn't get 10 on the run. And he's just a yard shy, less than a yard shy of the 1st down. He stays in there as the single setback.
There's the running back coach for Oklahoma, Cale Gundy, the brother of Mike Gundy.
It is Millard again, got the 1st down, spins his way out for 4 before Levy made the hit. There's Cale. So brother against brother. Mike, the quarterback here, back in his day, there was a time when he was playing quarterback and they had some pretty good talent around him that they thought they were going to pull off an upset over what was considered the big brothers. The big brothers might be switching around a little bit tonight. Got an injured player. It is Caleb Levy, the linebacker. Here's the 88 Bedlam game. I was just talking about this. Mike Gundy was a great quarterback here. Had Hartley Dykes as one of his wide receivers. Barry Sanders was in the backfield. They should have won this, they think.
Gundy has got Parker. Oh, he dropped it! Brett Parker dropped the football.
That's one they let get away. I don't think they're going to let this one get away tonight. Mike threw for well over 7,000 yards, which sounds like a huge number, but in this day and age, you got guys like Whedon, who throws for 4,000 back-to-back years, much less over the course of a college career. Whedon's #1 in yards and touchdowns, and broke his own single-season record for yardage in the third quarter on their drive to a touchdown. First and 10, Sooners, final minute, third quarter. From their own 33. Play action. Landry Jones fires deep middle. That should have been caught, I thought, unless Sean Lewis got a hand in there to knock it out of Stills' gut. A pretty good throw. Kenny Stills, the intended receiver. You know, you have to wonder what difference, and I'm sure it would have made one, Ryan Broyles, if he was on the field tonight.
Well, Broyles and Whaley, again, two key offensive weapons that they've played the last part of this season without. Whaley, a physical runner, and Broyles, a do-everything receiver.
Millard, another good run, another first down. Roderick Brown put the hit on him, but he got out to the 45, maybe the 46-yard line.
I think that's why we're seeing Millard right now. I mean, he gives them a little strength.
There's Dominic Whaley over there with the crutches. Again, broke his ankle on the first play against Kansas State. And he was a walk-on, and he was having this marvelous season. He will not be a walk-on in another month. He gets the first open scholarship in January. Miller getting some serious work here. Cut down that time, though, by Datejuan Lowe, who hit him low.
Yeah, he went low, didn't he?
And that should do it for the third quarter. Already the Cowboys holding up 4 fingers. I don't blame them. This presentation of ESPN and ABC College Football presented by Southwest Airlines continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Another pass. Markel Martin got his hand on it.
Now, I just think, again, from the very beginning, from the first possession, the Oklahoma State defense has shown up. I mean, they have played at a different level than they've played most of this season. And they've contested every play. I mean, Oklahoma has not had one big, easy play against this Cowboy defense tonight.
Third and 10, Sooners. Jones in trouble again. Has to get rid of it. And it goes up in the third row again. That's the second time there's been a football up there, and I'm sure they're not going to give it back. No, they are going to give it back. There's a sportsman. Pass intended for that guy.
Yeah. Number 3 was in the area in the second row, maybe. Either that or number 3 is 9 feet tall.
Tress way to punt. Cooper, fair catch, and made a good fair catch, backpedaling around the 9-yard line. Early fourth quarter, all Cowboys. Get ready for bowl season with the ESPN Bowl-bound app, featuring video news and analysis, latest BCS standings, and weekly projections. ESPN's Bowl-bound app, free on iPhone and Android. Text BOWL to 43776 to download. Sooners right now are getting downloaded by the Cowboys here, 44-3. And Randall on the handoff. Brandon Whedon hasn't had to throw touchdown passes tonight. He's got these guys to work with. Having a decent night for just an average quarterback, but he's anything but average. with his numbers.
Yeah, and they've run the football. They came into the game averaging 161 yards on the ground, 182 now. And that takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback.
And he has not been touched.
Not even close.
He directs some traffic on his protection on 2nd down and 7. Taking his time and says, Justin Blackman, come now. And he'll give it off on the ground again to Randall. And again, a big chunk on the ground.
Now, this offensive line has controlled the football game. I mean, they have absolutely done a great job. Opening running lanes. Protecting the quarterback. The center, Grant Garner, number 74, getting to the second level. He is really good at that. They run the zone play. That's their bread and butter. And somebody's got to get to the second level, get to the linebackers, and Garner does a great job of that.
Cooper in motion, but the handoff will go to Randall again for 2, maybe 3. Jamarcus McFarland made the tackle as we check in with Holly.
Well, Oklahoma State quarterback Brandon Whedon played professional baseball, but when he was wrapping up his career, he said, I was in an airport talking to my agent and knew that my baseball future was probably over, so I thought, you know, I want to think about it a few days, maybe get into football. He decided to call Oklahoma. He grew up in Edmond, halfway between here and Norman. They were very polite, but he could tell they were not interested, and so now he's here at Oklahoma State.
And it worked out pretty well, that's for sure. With a pro football career in his future, playing his last game here tonight along with 15 other seniors and 1 junior. That junior being Justin Blackman, who was introduced tonight with the seniors because he's expected to be maybe the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft next spring.
And that senior class, more wins than any class in school history. This would be their 40th win tonight.
Yep.
Mike Gundy said they're responsible for the way people think of Oklahoma State now.
And now they've set a program pattern. So the young guys behind him are going, okay, we got to keep this thing going. Whedon double clutch because he had a man right in his line of sight.
First time he got knocked down.
Yep.
Because he had to double clutch on the quick screen.
Jeremy Smith did make the catch but lost some yardage. So for the first time tonight, number 3 feels a hit from somebody in crimson and white.
Corey Nelson came off the edge.
But for the most part tonight, Bowie, Martinez, Garner, Taylor, Adcock, Graham, that front wall that Todd talked about, they have done a marvelous job protecting their quarterback and opening holes for their running backs. Quinn Sharp to punt. Fair catch taken at the 36 by Kenny Stills. 11:33 remaining. Cowboys are having their way with the Sooners tonight.
Saturday Night Football on ABC. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Happy night if you're cheering for the Cowboys. Not so much if you're cheering for the Sooners. As we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Turnovers. Broderick Brown with an interception in the end zone. Stopped an Oklahoma drive. And then Landry Jones fumbled. Blatnick picked it up on a perfect hop. Took it down to the 1. They scored 1 play later. Then on a fan job, an attempted pass. Richetti Jones takes it in. And then another fumble recovery right here led to yet another Cowboy touchdown.
Well, that's been their MO all season. Coming in, led the nation in forced turnovers. They were second in the country in turnover margin behind number 1 LSU. But they've added 4 to that tonight. So just an outstanding continuation of what they've done all year. 41 forced turnovers now and plus 20. That statistic is always going to tell you about a season.
I'm not sure what the turnover situation was in the LSU-Georgia game today, but LSU is the only team that was above plus 16 that the Cowboys came in with. As Todd said, it's plus 20 now, so they're right in there anyway. Millard, fullback in motion as they give it off to Brennan Clay. And we're going to be down to 10 minutes probably on the next Snap. 58,141. Not quite a record crowd at Boone Pickens Stadium, but certainly one of the biggest. And nobody's leaving, I'll tell you that much. They said earlier this week they thought they had storm warnings for today. It was raining like crazy this morning, and it cleared off. But the storm they were talking about is whether or not the fans here would storm the field if they were able to beat Oklahoma. We'll know that in about 10 minutes and 15 seconds. I guess if ever they had a reason to come out on the field, it would be with what's going on tonight. And now that crowd of 58,000 plus is causing some havoc and a delay of game on the Sooners.
Well, Landry Jones was trying to change the play or the protection at the line of scrimmage, and the left tackle, Donald Stevenson, didn't hear it. And he asked him to come back up and remake the call, and when they did that, they ran out of time.
So that backs it up to the 44. Under 10 minutes, nothing going right for Oklahoma. Jones steps up in the pocket, fires over the middle, and throws a strike to Camille Jackson.
One of his best throws of the night right there. Stepped up, stepped right into it.
17-yard pickup.
Right in front of the receiver. Perfect spot for the football.
Umpire resets the football for the center on first down. In Cowboy territory at the 49. Clay trying to get to the corner, and Blatnick's not going to let him get there as he shoves him out of bounds. And we go to Robert Flores. Robert.
Hey, Brad, some excitement in the first ever Big Ten championship game between Michigan State and Wisconsin, a rematch from earlier in the season. Kirk Cousins here hooks up with B.J. Cunningham. And Michigan State is leading 36-28. More good news for Oklahoma State because in the ACC title game on ESPN, Clemson is beating Virginia Tech. Cowboys looking to jump Tech to get into that #2 spot of the BCS.
And they're having no problem tonight so far. And time is just about expired on the Sooners' night. A little over 8 minutes to go. Jones, that one in the air and almost intercepted. On the ricochet, Ryan Robinson almost had a play on the ball, as that front four has been so active tonight for the Cowboys.
Elkin, the linebacker, was the guy who got in there and deflected the football.
Jones loads and goes deep. Intercepted by Gilbert. Another turnover. +5 on the night.
Wow.
The Cowboy defense. Ride 'em Cowboys. 44-3. The reaction in Afghanistan tonight for the Cowboy fans. I think the most interesting bet I heard about, two guys. The loser was going to have the mascot tattooed on his rear end. Somebody's going to have a Sooner schooner thing on his backside. Oklahoma State came in. Here's what they need to play in the BCS championship game. Remember, the computers love them, but the voters don't so much. So if more than 25% of the voters made them second place voters and everybody else made them #3 on their ballots, they got a shot. What they're doing now is they are annihilating their counterparts from Norman, and it's getting worse. Randall all the way out to the 43-yard line, Joseph Randall. And right now, just steamrolling the Sooners are the Cowboys from Stillwater. And Todd, I don't know, are they good enough to be in the BCS National Championship game?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed with them tonight. I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
I think when the voters cast their final votes, I think they will be good enough to be the third best team, on all the polls. I think they'll pass Stanford. I think they'll pass Virginia Tech. I don't think they'll pass Alabama. And in my own personal opinion, I still think LSU and Alabama are the two best teams in college football. However, I, as a fan, would love to see this offensive football team go against either one of those defenses and see the Big 12 and the SEC in that kind of a matchup.
The fans are chanting LSU right now.
You know, it's so interesting when you think about comparing the Big 12 and the SEC. The Big 12, known for offense. Oklahoma State has gained more yards in 8 and probably 9 games now this season than LSU and Alabama gained combined when they played on November 5th.
Here's Smith, another big opening, and the ball came out at the end. And who's got it? It's going to be Oklahoma ball way back inside the 20-yard line as the ball squirted out of there. Well, maybe it's not Oklahoma ball. They're still going at it down near the 15-yard line. It is going to be Oklahoma football. There's also talk that because of the fact, and we showed you that 5-year reign for the SEC as far as being BCS champions, that's Jeremy Smith, who fumbled the ball, who's down on the turf. Hopefully he's not hurt. He's had a marvelous game tonight. But a lot of people think because of those BCS championship games and the reputation that the SEC has around the entire country by guys like us and other people, that maybe they get too much credit. You know, that's the strongest conference is. Obviously, the defenses of Alabama and LSU are unparalleled.
Yeah.
But maybe guys like this deserve a little love and a chance. And like you said, everybody I've talked to said, you know what? We've already seen Alabama and LSU, and it was an overtime game, and it was a bunch of field goals, and it was a bunch of defense, and that's great if you love defense. But most people I talked to said, I would love to see somebody that can score 50 points a game, see if they can score enough to beat an LSU.
Well, and that's an intriguing thought, you know, but I think what's going to still stay in the minds of most voters is Alabama's loss was to the #1 team in the country in overtime. And it was a game that really they controlled and should have won, but they didn't. Oklahoma State's loss 3 weeks later was on the road at unranked Iowa State. And I think that loss, losing to a team like Iowa State, is going to weigh in the mind still when they cast their votes.
I just hope that it doesn't take away from what Oklahoma State's doing here. They're going to win a conference championship. They're going to go to a BCS game, and they have to be awfully proud of another 11-win season. But there are people around here that thought if they beat Oklahoma tonight, too many people would look back to 2 weeks ago and say, well, if they just would have beaten Iowa State.
Now they're still
look at it that way.
They're taking the next step as a program. I mean, they are taking the next step, an outright conference championship, a BCS bowl game, even if it's not the championship game, a huge step in the right direction for this program because they're moving themselves into a new stratosphere as one of the elite programs in college football with a win here tonight.
They're doing what Oregon did in the late 90s when they finally got in the Rose Bowl picture. They're doing what Wisconsin did in the early 90s to make their first Rose Bowl in 31 years under Barry Alvarez. That's what Oklahoma State is doing right now. They're making a statement, and they're moving the program to the next level where they're going to be a perennial bowl team and maybe always be in the hunt to go to the BCS or to be possibly involved in a national championship game. Roy Finch on the biggest run of the night after that fumble recovery, 33 yards for Finch. Some of the great signs we're seeing now, I'm not sure they were holding those things up earlier in the ball game, but they certainly have reason to with 6:22 to go. With the exception of a few of the folks from Norman who have left their seats, nobody else has left Boone Pickens Stadium right now, because there's going to be a celebration in Stillwater tonight.
Well, you know, the drum that they will beat the loudest here in Stillwater tonight and through the weekend and next week will be those quality wins, the number of quality wins over ranked opponents that this Oklahoma State team can boast compared to what Alabama can boast. But again, there's that perception the SEC is still the strongest conference, so therefore Alabama has a little bit more weight.
Again, this will be the 5th win over a BCS top 25 team for Oklahoma State. Here's Millard, and he's a couple yards shy of the first down as we check in with Holly.
Well, this is arguably one of the biggest games in Oklahoma State history, so we were wondering if Mike Gundy would get tight, how he would coach tonight. Well, it was a good signal when he told us that yesterday morning he spent his time digging trenches on his 70-acre farm here in Stillwater, laying some power lines, some telephone lines. He said, you know, I've been involved in sports since I was 5 years old, playing year-round. I know how to focus during a game, and his demeanor has been very calm here on the sidelines, guys.
Tell you what, his team's laid some power lines down tonight on Oklahoma.
I hope he's got some long underwear on, because he's going to get Gatorated here in a very short amount of time.
First down run, a little skirmish on the bottom of the pile as we're under 5 minutes.
I'll tell you, the happiest guy in this stadium might be Bill Young, because the defensive coordinator for a team coming in that was 107th in the nation in total defense has put on a show tonight and made them look like a legitimate national championship caliber team.
They take the 8th highest scoring offense in the nation and held them to a field goal, which came on the final play of the second quarter. Here's a little flare out to Trey Franks. Tyler Johnson made the tackle on Franks. And Franks limping off as he did earlier in this half. The Sooners are going to come up short of a 10-win season. That doesn't happen very often. Of course, they could get the 10th win in their bowl game, wherever that might be. You'll find out about all the bowls starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN, 8:15 rather, and continuing at 9 o'clock when you'll find out, after you find out who's going to play in the national championship game, you'll find out about the rest of the bowls. Sooners had won 4 of the last 5 Big 12 crowns. And they had won the last 8 straight in this Bedlam matchup. There's another nice stop by Sean Lewis, who's had a huge game. The sophomore out of Missouri City, Texas.
Well, he did a great job of running down the line of scrimmage. He came off the edge, saw the handoff, and then straight down the line of scrimmage to make a play for the stop short of the first down.
4th and a long one. Blake Bell's in for the first time tonight, the short yardage quarterback. They haven't had any short yardage or goal line situations, so he hadn't had a chance to play.
How about that? He's been such a big part of their offense over the last 4 or 5 weeks. First time in the game.
Redshirt freshman, all 6'6", 250 pounds of him. And he'll just run it behind his blockers, and he's got the first down. He might have a touchdown, and does. Bell for the score, the first touchdown of the night for Oklahoma. 29-yard rumble.
Most of his runs have been inside. This time they take it outside. Jaden Bird, number 53, with a key block right on the edge. And a little different look out of that power formation, the Belldozer package. And Blake Bell gets his 10th rushing touchdown of the season.
That's tops on the team. But it's way too little and way too late. So it was a good-looking play. And he's the future at quarterback for the Sooners. And finally they get a touchdown, but it comes with 2:25 remaining in the football game. Landry Jones couldn't get him in the end zone. Blake Bell did, but did it with his legs. 44-10. In Afghanistan, morning now. Breakfast has already been served, and notice has been served on the Sooners by Oklahoma State tonight. We'll take a look at our Pacific Live game summary. 247 yards on the ground for the Cowboys. Turnover story 5-1 now, and that led to the only Sooner touchdown after Jeremy Smith fumbled. They get down, and Blake Bell gets him in the end zone on a 29-yard run. But all Cowboys 44-10.
Yeah, they protected their quarterback, Brandon Whedon. No touchdowns, but no sacks and no rug burns either.
No.
I mean, he was not on the ground.
And I'm sure, even though first game he hasn't had a touchdown pass, he's not going to care at all after what he talked to us about what this game meant and being able to beat Oklahoma. That's a free ball. Finally found the handle, Justin Gilbert. And Gilbert stopped at the 20 and then pushed back.
Coming into the game, Oklahoma State averaging 161 yards a game on the ground, 8th in the league. Tonight, a completely different story. They've run early, they ran often. 30 carries, 271 yards worth of running. And the more this game wore on, the more they just gashed this Oklahoma defense. And it was a combination of Joseph Randall and Jeremy Smith. A great 1-2 punch tonight for the Cowboys.
Final couple of minutes. More ground game here. And another couple of yards. Herschel Sims on the carry. Oops. Todd was just talking about hoping Mike has long undies on. I hope he does too.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't change expression much, did he? Oh boy, he'll enjoy it more and more as the night and the weekend progresses. And we talked about the storm forecast for Stillwater. You can see that some of the fans are lining up to be part of the field when it's over. The Sims again on the carry. Oklahoma State up 34. It's going to be one of the largest wins in history for them. 47 back in 45. The celebration is close at hand now with just over a minute to play.
Well, my advice to players on both teams, particularly the ones from Oklahoma, put your helmets on and strap up your chin straps before the field gets covered with folks.
Herschel Sims getting a few carries here at the very end. We might or might not have another snap. You're number one in the Big 12, Spider-Man. Tell you that much. Champions of the Big 12 for the first time. And Bedlam about to become mayhem. Congratulations to the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. They snap an 8-game losing skid to the Sooners, and they are Big 12 champions headed to the BCS. Here's Holly.
Well, Coach Gundy, this is the first time you've been able to beat Oklahoma, but how do you describe beating them like this?
Well, our players had really two really good weeks of practice, and these are special kids. I told them in the locker room before the game that they're a special group, and they deserve it. They've worked for a long time, and so they've earned it.
You guys really made a dramatic change in your running game tonight, over 270 yards rushing. How were you able to do that?
Well, our offensive staff felt like that we had to be able to run the football. That's where we came up short at Iowa State. And, well, you got to give a lot of credit to our defense. It's unbelievable what our defense did. But the kids really played hard, and it's all about them. I'm really proud of them.
Coach, I know you wanted to win a conference championship first before you talk about this. You've won it tonight. Now how do you make your case for this team deserving a shot at the national championship?
Well, I think people have to decide whether they want to see a 9-6 game or a 39-36 game. And I think this is the opportunity for people to find out how good the defense is in the SEC. We'd love to have that challenge. I think our defense is better than what other people say. So, last week, I said Alabama should be there. There's no question Oklahoma State should be number 2 right now. No question.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Todd said earlier, I wonder if the tune for Coach Gundy will change. He's whistling something different, isn't he? That's okay. He's got reason to brag up his team after a resounding win tonight. 44-10 is the final. So finally, the long wait is over for a conference championship. This isn't the Big 8 back in the mid-70s. This is the 2011 version of the Big 12, and the champions are the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Final score, 44-10 for Todd Blackledge, Hallie Rowe, and our entire crew. Brad Nessler saying so long from Stillwater. Time to head to Robert Flores with the Ford wrap-up show. Congratulations to the Cowboys.